Hey everyone, today we're going to be reviewing this week's Dev Diary, focusing mainly on Songhai, but also with some changes to last week's Mali missions, as well as a little explanation to the reasoning behind not adding any more provinces to the game. By the way, if you're interested in the background time-lapse for this video, it's my Montferrat into Byzantium campaign, The Phoenix is Reborn. It's linked down below in the description. So without further ado, let's check out the beginning of this week's Dev Diary, the mission overview. Songhai historically is the nation that replaced Mansa Musa's Mali as the dominant military power in West Africa, until it was itself destroyed by the Moroccans in the late 16th century. So for the mission tree of the nation, Tinto has decided to go with a mostly military-based tree, with a really interesting religious line added as well. They do have this little mission here called Take the Empire title, which gives you the rank of Empire by simply having higher prestige, stability, and power projection than Mali, as well as a larger military. That mission is in the second column of the tree, which mainly focuses on West Africa, while the third column includes more miscellaneous conquest missions, focusing on eastern West Africa, as well as providing a route to the Maghrebi nations, allowing you to reverse history by destroying the Moroccans as they would have done in real life to you. There's also an event that can pop up when you're taking the mission to conquer Gene. It's an event that allows them to make a white peace with you in return for a royal marriage and giving them under you as vassals. And that's a unique little event. It's a way to end the war if you had already occupied their capital, and it doesn't give you any aggressive expansion, which is just fantastic. Now the fourth column of the tree is where it really gets interesting, because it looks empty, but this is actually because of something really unique I've only seen here with Songhai so far. They've added a dynamic mission tree, which after you complete the Eliminate the Mossy Threat mission, you get a choice of two separate trees to branch off from there. The event that pops up gives you the choice between a more Sunni religious path, converting West Africa and aligning well with the religious idea group. There is a nice little mission that allows you to permanently invite one type of scholar without having to have good diplomatic relations with a nation that has this scholar's school. I think that's really cool because up until now I haven't seen much interaction between the Islamic schools mechanic and mission trees. The final reward for this tree is a permanent relations boost with all same religion nations of plus 25, which in my opinion is extremely powerful, as well as a plus 1 tolerance of the true faith, which is always nice. The other option for the tree, however, the path of tolerance, might be far more interesting. To start off, the tolerance path gets an amazing Dini privilege which combines guaranteed religious minority with guaranteed traditions. Very, very powerful. The next mission, Pagan Alliances, gives a similar buff as the final mission in the Sunni tree, instead giving all fetishist countries plus 25 opinion. I would say this is less powerful only because fetishism is relegated to sub-Saharan Africa, while Sunni Islam is worldwide. The final mission for the tolerance tree allows you to choose between two things, the first being a permanent improved relations buff, 10%, which is really powerful, as well as a 0.05 prosperity growth modifier and a local religious unity contribution of minus 100% in all fetishist provinces. It is currently unclear whether that will retroactively apply to any fetishist provinces you conquer after you take the mission, but knowing Paradox, it definitely won't on release. The second option they give is to allow you to convert to fetishism and allow your heir to take a cult as well. The final column of the tree mainly focuses on Songhai's economy, with weaker rewards than the Mali tree used to have for gold and trade. The first column focuses mainly on the modernization of Songhai, allowing easier adoption of feudalism. It also has a really cool mission, Embrace the Glory of Battle, that enables a per-ruler decision that costs 200 millpower, I know, pretty expensive, and gives a negative manpower modifier of 15% and a negative manpower recovery modifier of 10%, which honestly doesn't seem that balanced, giving a negative manpower modifier and a negative manpower recovery modifier. I think pick one, because a negative manpower modifier effectively gives you a negative monthly manpower recovery. And in exchange for those two negatives, you get 2.5 discipline, 0.5 yearly army professionalism, and 0.5 yearly army tradition. All three of those are really powerful. Personally, I think this decision would be a lot better if they raised the discipline a teeny bit. 2.5% really is almost negligible in most terms of the game, and it's kind of similar to Austria's idea that gives them 3% discipline. It's just a weird amount. The last mission of the tree, Modernize Songhai, does a kind of a funny little thing. It disables the super annoying comet-sighted event you got throughout the game that removes one stability, because you're in a more enlightened time. And that concludes the additions to Songhai that this Dev Diary covered. The second section of this week's Dev Diary focuses on revisions made to last week's focus, Mali. Firstly, they mention Mali having a discovered path of provinces to Mecca due to Mansa Musa's privileges 100 years prior to the game beginning. I think this is a really cool, unique little bit of flavor that they didn't have to add, but they did. It's a good job there, Tinto. Next, they talked about adjusting the modifiers to the overpowered controlled gold mining privilege, moving it from a negative 100% monthly gold inflation and depletion chance to negative 75% chance for both, and adding plus 5% all power costs, a really annoying modifier. This is a step in the right direction, but personally I think it should be closer to negative 50% for the depletion and inflation, and I am not entirely sure about the power costs. It makes sense because the privilege mostly removes the need for reducing inflation via administrative power, but I think they should raise the cost of reduce inflation to something like 150 admin power instead of reducing all power costs, or increasing all power costs rather. This would much better work with the privilege itself and lead more people to actively use it, I think. The privilege also gives a whopping negative 30 max absolutism and 30 burgers influence. The combination of these two modifiers right now would make me almost never take this privilege, even before the age of absolutism, because in the current state of the game, burgers influence is already usually the highest because of the modifiers it gets from highly devved provinces and from high trade income. I think personally this should probably be lowered to 10% or 15% influence, and I think the standard minus 5 max absolutism, because minus 30 is in line with major government reforms for republic nations, which it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They also chose to rename the Aby Bakr missions to Ko Mamadi, because he is essentially what they call the Mali version of Aby Bakr. Blessedly, they have also nerfed the second pilgrimage events to be a very dynamic 5-year-long thing, with events every 100 or so days where you can leave a donation for a nation in different regions of Europe. It doesn't have to be Europe, by the way. You can also go through North Africa. This donation gives buffs to the nation for construction, ship, regiment, and great power upgrade costs of minus 25%, which is very powerful, and I think a step in the right direction as well, because you're getting a giant gold induction into your country, and that would theoretically lower the cost if it didn't just give you straight up a bunch of money. It also gives inflation in relation from that nation's trade income to Mali's gold income. I don't think they mentioned the ratio exactly, but it's also a step in the right direction, as well as a 5-year modifier of -1 yearly inflation reduction, which seems like a typo to me, or I don't know how to read, because to me that means you'll over time lose 5 inflation, when I think the event is supposed to make you gain 5 inflation over 5 years. That's all for the official Dev Diary, but Johan himself graced us with the company's reasoning behind no more map changes. The first one they list is save game compatibility, which seems like the dumbest reason ever. I don't know anyone that actually complains about save games being different when you update to a new version. You can just revert to the old version at any time to play that old save game. There's even a message telling you it's going to corrupt your save game if you try to open it. But I guess it kind of makes sense. Next is the really valid reason: performance. The game significantly slows down with each update lately, especially with the most recent Leviathan update. You could feel the game take a noticeable drop. Even on my computer, where I can go through a month in a second on 5-speed, it took a noticeable dive from what it used to be. Lastly, they cited each region already having multiple passes for provinces. And it's almost valid, but I don't want to see them never change the shape of provinces again, because that just feels it makes it lackluster when they update these new regions, which they said they want to do. Johan went on to explain that Tinto planned updates for at least 3 more major regions before ending development of EU4, or at least implied ending development of EU4. He also talks about how EU4 has the longest support of any Paradox game, passing the previous CK2. He also hints that next week's Dev Diary will be about Ethiopia, which I am personally extremely excited about, because Ethiopia, up until now, has been my favorite African nation to play. They have these really cool flavor events, and you start out with a great starting ruler, and the great Coptic religion, which, when they first added its unique mechanics, was so fun. And then he talks about the final Dev Diary coming out this month, And it's going to be a big one, he says, talking about balance and AI improvements coming in 1.32. I hope you enjoyed my little review of the diary, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and a comment and consider subscribing for weekly Dev Diary updates and daily EU4 campaigns. Have a great day!